It's a big historic day for the company. Why does this spin-off make sense? And do you have the backing of your major shareholders? I'm thinking Geely and BAIC over in China.
Good morning. Yes, today is a historic day for our company. We're asking shareholders to vote on a split to turn this company into two strong, innovative industry leaders. We are in the age of transformation in the automotive industry, and now is the right time for 100% focus on the very different customer groups, entrepreneurial freedom, speed and agility in decision-making, which is key in transformation, and also an opportunity to create value for our shareholders. So we're looking forward to the shareholders meeting today.
So, Mr. Kaellenius, you have two big shareholders. Have you spoken to them? Are they going to vote yes?
When we proposed this to the supervisory board in February of this year, we of course embarked after that on a discussion with all our major shareholders. And the response that we have received from them has been very positive. They understand the logic behind this deal, and we will then see how the vote turns out today.
OK, the truck division has trailed historically in terms of profitability its competitors. How do you plan to turn that around? What are the concrete steps and measures you're going to be putting in place to improve margins and profitability?
It's really three things on the truck side. One is, of course, also their innovation. The trucking business is also going on a path towards zero emission, and we have already launched several electric trucks and are working on a fuel cell truck as well. So being a leader in innovation will be key in this age of transformation. Then it's about capturing more opportunities on the revenue side with our strong brands, and also work on the fixed cost, particularly for the Mercedes-Benz truck brand, to lift the overall financial performance of the company.
But, Mr. Kaellenius, how does the new structure actually help with that? I mean, you're pointing to things that actually you could have done under the current structure of Daimler.
The current management team have made good progress on this path. But now things are moving faster in transformation. We're decarbonizing. The whole auto industry is going digital. The product is also being digitalized. In this case, to have a two-tier decision-making structure, which you have inside a conglomerate, is the second fastest way of doing business. And unleashing two strong industry leaders with their separate governance, we think will not only unleash additional entrepreneurial energy, but also speed up decision-making, which is important in this transformation.
How much time will you be giving yourself and the team there to enact or to lead to tangible results as a result of these changes?
Well, first, after the vote today from the shareholders, we're looking at a listing before the end of the year. And then we have set out, as has been communicated in our capital markets events, a very ambitious agenda for the next 2 to 3 years. So these next 2 to 3 years count. But we have already made progress, and if you look at the results of the first half of this year, it shows evidence of a strengthened financial performance of Daimler and its divisions.
Mr. Kaellenius, do you think you're more vulnerable to either investor activists or even takeover attempts as two smaller listed company?
One part of the rationale for this split is to unlock value in the share, and we could see when we announced it on February 3rd that the market responded very positively. The stock almost up 10% in those 2 trading days, which means that if you have the maximum value creation through your financial structure as well, we think that is the best way to protect the company and attract long-term investors.
So where are we in terms of the supply chain constraints? I'm thinking specifically about semiconductors and chips across the whole of the business. When do you expect those pressures to alleviate?
The whole industry is grappling with this at the moment, and we came off of Q3 that was quite challenging. We are working with our supply partners to gradually improve this situation. What the big chip makers are saying is that the constraints will be with us also throughout the year of 2022, but we're hoping on a better level than what we have experienced during this year.
How much do you worry about inflation? Mr. Kaellenius. So when you look at all the challenges out there, you have the chip makers, you have supply constraints, now there's also energy concerns in most parts of the world. Like, what is outside your control that is your biggest headache?
There is pressure on commodity pricing now that we also feel on our cost side, which is taken into our financial expectations and projections. But we have an unusual market at the moment where very high demand meets supply constraint. So perhaps it's not odd that we feel price pressure. When the market comes back into an equilibrium again and we can balance supply and demand in a better way, I think it's reasonable to expect that we should get back to some kind of normality. But the economists are still analyzing this and looking at the different scenarios.
Clearly, China is a major market, particularly for the premium segment of the passenger car business. Are you seeing any impact at all on sales? Do you expect to see any impact on sales as the economy there starts to look a little more fragile?
If we look at what happened last year after the initial COVID shutdowns, we had a remarkable return of the Chinese market almost immediately. And we saw double-digit growth in China in the COVID year, really, and continued with a strong start in 2021. As far as Mercedes-Benz is concerned, the fact that we're now below last year's sales figures is due to the supply constraint and not the demand side. We could sell more if we had more supply of semiconductors.
Ola Kaellenius, the auto industry is going through a massive shift. It's being disrupted almost on a monthly or quarterly basis. Who will I buy my car from in 4 or 5 years? How many companies will be left? How much mergers will there be? And will I buy it from a technology company or actually from an automaker?
If you are looking for a zero-emission, very innovative electric car with that modern luxury touch that the customers of Mercedes are used to, you can buy it from us. So we are transforming this company at a very, very fast speed. We have decided to accelerate our path towards electrification. And in fact, we will put the company in a position by the end of the decade where the market conditions allow to be able to go 100% electric. So we certainly intend to be part of that equation.
OK, that's a lovely sales pitch. Do you see more consolidation in the market, sir?
It's hard to tell. You have seen some moves. We are not planning anything in this direction. Mercedes-Benz is the strongest luxury brand in the automotive world. So we will focus on developing our technology and our customer base forward. Where it makes sense and there is a win-win, we can cooperate with technology and other companies, but we see our path as a standalone Mercedes-Benz.